Hi, everyone. Welcome to Basically Complicated. Have we been introducing ourselves? Do not think so. We're going to get it going. My name is Evan.
Established.
I'm friends with them. This is Julie, and this is Mark, and this is Beth. And we're going to talk to you today about a topic that I came up with, which was what is the one of the biggest surprises you've ever given or receiving? Receiving like. So I'm counting this as well with like scaring. So if you have a good story of like frightening someone, because it's more surprise than it is like fear, unless like there was fear involved.
I already have a story that just came up because of that. So continue.
I figured that would just pop that up in your brain right there.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there. You can share the first story.
No, you share the first. You just get it going, girl.
No, what I'm going to say is this was a hard topic for Mark because he does not get surprised. Like, I threw him a surprise 18th birthday party, and all of our friends from school were there, and he walks in, everyone's like, surprise, and jumps out, and he's like, oh, hey, guys. How's it going? I have tried, and this dude, I was so mad.
I would hate that.
I was so mad.
You should have left him right there.
She should have. There are many reasons for that. That's one of them. It's not even that I don't get surprised. It's that I don't like surprises.
Yeah, that's true.
I would rather be involved in the decision than be surprised.
But why?
Because I don't know about it. So, for example, we were married. And Julie wanted to plan a surprise, or she was just really cagey about it. She was planning a trip, and she was like, I'm gonna plan this weekend for us. We're gonna go to Indianapolis. And I was like, no, I don't want to go to Indianapolis.
It's like point blank.
I was like, what are we gonna do in Indianapolis? She was like, well, there's like baseball, there's a museum, and I was like, no. I don't want to do that.
When was this?
And I was planning
3 years ago.
But what he didn't know, I was planning this with 2 other couples.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just
the goal
we're
was
going
meet
to
up
Indianapolis.
With, a couple friend and then my brother and sister-in-law. We were gonna like meet up as this is like the midway point, and we would all hang out in Indianapolis. But I was like, no, I don't want to go to India. Like, if we're gonna spend a weekend somewhere, I'd rather go to like California or Washington.
But part of it was Chad, Mark's brother, was about to get deployed, and so we were all trying. The wives were trying to plan this weekend as like a last hurrah before his deployment. He wasn't cooperating.
She was like, "It's gonna be a surprise." Like, and I was like, "I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do that. I would rather go somewhere else. Surprise me with something else."
You told him there's gonna be a surprise there, and he still was like, "I'm not going."
And I had to tell, so in order to get him in the car, I had to tell him what we were doing, so it couldn't even be a surprise.
You couldn't. If she said there's a surprise, and
that's a trust issue. Anyway, continue.
I'm not disagreeing. What surprise in Indianapolis could be worth me going there?
Your brother.
You know it? Yeah, now I know that.
Yeah, if someone was like, "There's a surprise, you're gonna want to go," I'd be like, "Done."
Right. If it's someone that I'm like, if I was married to someone, then they told me that, I'd be like, yeah,
you need to pray about that.
I don't disagree. I just don't like surprises. It's always been my opinion. Like, I would just rather know.
So then, what story could you conjure up from the pits of your heart?
Scaring someone.
Okay.
Scaring someone I can do. So there was I just liked scaring people.
Yeah, who doesn't? It's always entertaining.
Part of it was like my brothers did it so much to me that like I was like, I have to be able to do this to someone else. So there was this. We were watching. What's the name of the movie?
Saw.
No, it's a really obscure horror movie, but it's about the Tooth Fairy, but scary.
Tooth scary.
That'd be a great one. Anyway, so the premise of the story is like when you lose your tooth, something happened to this woman where she became the Tooth Fairy because she burned down in a house or something.
Sure.
It's standard Tooth
Let
Fairy.
us know in the comments what this movie is.
My brother's like,
believe
it's moron. This is why we scared you, because you can't remember dumb movie names like this one. Darkness Falls. When Darkness Falls, I think that was it. Because the whole point is she can't be in the light, so she only comes out in the dark.
When the Tooth Fairy comes.
Of course. But we were watching that movie, and like my family growing up in our church was known as like, oh, if we're going to watch a movie, we do it at the Adkins house because they let us watch anything. Like, I grew up in a very conservative church, which was like, you can't watch Little Mermaid because she's wearing a bikini. So, like,
Coconuts aren't good enough.
yeah, those seashells are not covering.
Oh,
it.
whatever, seashells. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to our clothing.
That's right.
Because I was holy.
Yeah, I'm an authentic Little Mermaid fan. So we would always watch scary movies at the Adkins house. So we had like the full youth group was over at our house. We didn't have youth group at our church because it was a conservative church. So it's like, we don't do a youth group because that's what the pagan churches do. We do Bible studies.
Oh.
So we had the youth over.
There's so many things that I can't handle with the story.
I don't know. So we had everyone over. We were watching When Darkness Falls. I think that's the movie. But there was this girl that was like petrified of everything. And so, obviously, there's like, it's a scary movie, so scary things happen. It's like a jump scare movie.
Right.
But somehow we had finagled it so that she was sitting on the couch watching the movie, and she was like backing up more and more into the couch. But our couch was lined with the windows to the outside. And so we didn't have screens on our windows, and we never really locked them because we were in the middle of a farm. So we're not like... We never locked our doors. We never locked windows. So I just went around to the outside and like quietly slid the window up and like just waited for a scary moment because I had seen the movie before and like reached out and just like barely touched her shoulders and she like flipped over the front like of her coffee table and screamed. And it was fantastic, but then the scares like kept coming because when you find someone that's so easily scarable, you just can't stop. Like, why would you stop scaring that person?
Yeah.
And my brothers were in it too, and so I think at one point she was like walking out to her car, and my brother had like hid under her minivan, and like as she was walking in, like opened her door, he like grabbed her foot, and she started screaming. And then I think the same brother or another brother had like hidden in the ditch like half a mile down the road, so that when she was leaving, he would like jump out on the side of the ditch to scare her on the way. I don't know. We kind of got a little too elaborate with it.
I feel so bad for this girl because I would be that.
Yeah, I would be that
Sorry,
person too.
Jenny.
She's probably in an insane
Did you
asylum
get in
right now.
trouble for that?
No, we told my family was like,
They didn't have a youth leader. The church was too conservative. No one was watching them.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's really scary.
That poor woman.
Jenny, I am so sorry.
That poor woman.
Made it stronger.
I feel like I have a story like that, but it's even worse.
Oh, go ahead.
I think I
girl.
just told you
Killed
this.
someone?
I can't remember. I surprised them by killing them.
And nothing but knives.
No. Yeah, I told my team that today, and they're like, "Oh," like they didn't know what to say, and I was like, "Oh, but it was."
But it's funny. But
was-
but I'm funny, right?
I was like, I wasn't gonna hurt him. When I was in 7th or 8th grade, there was 2 friends coming over, and I'm not gonna say names for this one, but anyways, the one friend had arrived, and we were like, so-and-so's coming, Jacqueline. We were like, Jacqueline's coming. I couldn't not. The story will be too hard. So we were like, let's scare her. So I was like, someone had the idea of like, we're going to pretend that Deandra hasn't arrived yet. Whoops, drop the other name. I think that if Dee watches this, she will remember. Anyways, or maybe they won't. But anyways, so we were like, we should pretend like Dee hasn't gotten here yet. And like she was going to be outside again with a knife.
Oh my gosh!
I know! I don't know whose idea the knife was. It was probably mine. Anyway, so Jacqueline arrives, and we're, like, talking and keeping it chill and casual, and I was like, oh, and Deandra had a cell phone.
I can't be just thinking about the story.
So, like, someone called the house, and, like, it was Dee, and, like, I played into it, and was like, someone called the house, and it was weird. And then, like, and then Deandra was outside, and we had a downstairs patio door or whatever, and, like, we ended up going down there, but I was, like, luring Jacqueline, because I knew, like, that Deandra was going to be there with, like, a blanket over her, and, like, again, with the knife, I think. I know! It was so terrible. So, anyways, Jacqueline was terrified. Like, rightfully so. And at some point...
You brought... Okay.
I know, why?
Woof.
This was before Jesus.
Was it?
I mean, I had some drawing to do.
He probably was there because I'm sure that poor woman needed help. But, okay, so she came
We were
down...
in 8th grade. Keep going.
she came down the stairs and then like she popped out of the stair. Like where did she come from?
I think all of it was like she was outside, so all of it was like there's someone outside trying to get in. Like that was kind of the like lie.
She was outside covered in a blanket, holding a knife.
Something along those lines. She was covered so that she didn't see her, and then there was a knife somewhere in it. And I don't know if she ended up coming inside into the closet then later. I can't remember all the details. But anyways, Jacqueline was getting terrified and I was feeling bad. And I was like, it's a joke. And then she was like legitimately like, y'all suck. And I was like, yeah, we do. You're right. Like I
would have left.
It was less fun than it would seem. And so that was a bad surprise.
That was elaborate.
It was so elaborate. Yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of bully-like as I tell it. And it wasn't meant to be, but...
It never seems like that, is the
Yeah, I know. It seems like I was
don't they?
It seems like I was the worst, eh? Yeah.
Come to a lot of self.
Did you ever apologize to her for that?
I'm
This
not
is your
sure.
moment right
I don't
now.
remember.
Look at the camera.
I just ran into you, Jacqueline, the other day. I'm sorry. I would get that.
You're
if
still friends
you...
with her. Well, that feels good.
Well, like we had a warm greeting. We haven't had it in a long time. I would be. We just don't
She
live.
kept her distance.
We don't live near each other.
Hey,
else. We wouldn't do that.
hey, the Beth, you good? You doing what? You doing good there,
I
Beth?
got stuff to do. I got stuff to wrap up.
No, don't reach for your phone. Oh no, you open up. It's just your.
No, we were
person.
fine after
Okay.
that. We played volleyball together and we had fun. Like it was all good.
Okay.
So we were good.
Thank God.
I think they knew my heart wasn't black, so they.
In that moment, it was.
Yeah, in that moment, I know.
He was overcome by darkness.
I don't even know what led me, but yep. So surprises.
That was awesome.
All of you were taken aback where you're like debating if you want to be my friend anymore.
No, I love it.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
I'm just gonna check your purse for knives.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
I love it. My older brothers and like their friends were the type of people that like they would work at haunted forests during Halloween. So like they loved
That
scaring people.
doesn't shock me.
Bought
in the
like
slightest.
full costumes and they had like the masks that you could like squeeze and it would pump blood
Whoa.
onto it and they had the whole
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry. Whoa.
fake blood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that does not shock me in the slightest.
no.
No, I hate that voice.
So I feel like I have a large amount of stories, so
Yeah.
I can just start with if we're on the theme of scaring, unless we can jump different subjects.
Jump.
Whatever
Take
you
it
want
where
to
you
do.
want to go.
So I'm gonna go wherever I want to go,
Yeah.
and I
You
will
be
lead.
you.
I will lead, and you will follow. One time I almost scared my dad. And he was very close to punching me in the face, and it was at a very obvious spot in our house. So like literally the the door. So we had a front door that no one ever used, and it was actually the very convenient spot to like just period. No one used that door. They actually would go around to the porch because it made more sense. But like so you go into the porch and then you go into the kitchen, and so then like kitchen, you walk in the door, the fridge is to your right, and then like the sink and like the dining table is ahead of you. So I literally like I was like 15. Like this wasn't small Evan. This was normal, and I had been this height for a long time. And I like by the fridge, like in between, like where the door opens.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like you could see my arm, like when you walked in. Like it wasn't, and it was in the middle of the day. Like it was at night. And so then like my dad walked in the door, and I was like and he was like, whoa! It was so like real, like maybe an inch away from my face of like punching me real hard, and I felt bad, but then it was absolutely hysterical. And he's like, I almost punched you. It's like you did. I'm 15. I also I won't share names, although it's really
It's
obvious.
hard not to.
Can you just like initials?
Just use their names, Jacqueline and Deandra.
So I had a Jacqueline. No, there's just someone in my life, like currently, that like scares super easily, and it's very funny when he does because he's like, just all the time. And one time, like it was, I came out of the building that we were in because if I said what building we were in, it might be kind of obvious who it was. And he was sitting in his car still, like I was leaving. We were both like the last two. He went out first, and I turned off all the lights, and then came out. And he was in his car, I think, like looking on his phone. And I came up, like, he didn't see me at all, and his car was pointed the other direction. And so then I came up, like, to his driver's side and then, like, slowly creeped
That's
up.
cruel.
It was... I had never seen someone like... He would have fallen if he had, like, the opportunity. The No, like his seat, he was like, oh man, I laughed harder than I could have ever. I wish I'd recorded it. And it was after the fact that I was like, no, that was my chance. I just have this memory of like, oh man, I laughed so hard.
That's brutal. I scare easy, and if someone did that to
See,
me...
my thing though is that if you scare my thing is though, if you scare easy, like just enjoy it because you do scare easy. Like
Enjoy what, my friend?
so, the person that I scared that I just told the story of that like shook his whole car. he was like, I actually love scaring people, and then like he was like, that was really good. Like I love scaring people, and when I know I react strongly when I get scared, and it's really funny. Because I don't think he actually gets like scared.
Sure.
Like I think he just gets really surprised and just screams really loudly.
Yeah.
But then he also scares other people. That's why I'm like, you have to like be okay.
Like
If I scare you, you have full permission to come at me with all that like you have. Honestly,
She's pulling a knife on you. So.
which now I regret that so much.
What happens to me is I like scream really loud, and like I'm in it, like I'm scared, and then I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, oh, that was so like overreacting.
Exactly, and I get scared too, and I was just like, yep, good job, you did it.
Yeah.
You did that thing you did, because walking around in houses apparently with me is very entertaining, because I'm literally complimenting the people. I'm like, oh, yeah, well that was good. You know, I really respected that. Like that was a really good like,
Respect game.
I like that you did that thing with in my face and the flinching, and yeah, it was good.
You like my brothers.
Yeah. Right. Except I'd
Probably not.
That would drive me crazy.
But you'd like it.
Yeah, and excessive, there's a time and a place. That scenario is
Mine?
bad.
I was
so
so
is yours,
young.
Mark, frankly.
Yeah, there's
Impressionable.
definitely excess
Oh, yeah.
in that.
Well, I'm
There's
gonna-
lines that were crossed.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
But like
me
you're
too.
in a room, like the only thing is surprise. It's not that you're actually scaring them.
Yeah.
Like that's when I think it's
Yeah.
absolutely hysterical. Like my family, like a couple. I remember an instance where people would fall. And it is the funniest thing in the world. That you get so scared that you like hit the ground. Oh man, every time it gets me.
Oh, gosh.
Because it's just funny. You're even laughing thinking about it because it's just funny. It's just funny to see people react in such a horrible way. I cuss. I shouldn't, but I do. I cuss sometimes.
When you're scared or when you see them scared?
When I am scared.
Oh.
No, it's... That's what
I just started thinking of Josh Groban. Is it when I am scared? That's not the lyrics. Dang it. Okay, well, close. Lyrics are hard for me.
Although I am going to go in a different direction because my problem as a child for the scaring thing is that you know when you can't sleep as a kid, you get your parents, right? But I felt so bad for waking them up. I didn't want to wake them up, so my thought is if they naturally wake up, then I can tell them I can't sleep, right?
Julie's like banging pots.
Oh no, worse.
It's more horrifying.
And I would always go to my mom's side of the bed because I was scared, you don't know, your dad could throw a punch or, you just don't know.
You don't
So,
know.
like, I would always go to my mom's side of the bed and I would go right up to, like, where her head was on the pillow and I'd just stand there.
Oh, no.
Mom, I'm so sorry. So I would just stand there and I'd like hover and I'd just watch her sleep thinking she'll wake up. She'll eventually, but like I didn't want to be the one to wake her up.
You just wanted her to wake up
I'm sorry.
and to see her child.
Hovering
But you
over
know
her.
how, like, even
Oh
when you're
my
sleeping, you can
gosh.
kind of sense a presence. Like
Yeah.
something is next to me that's not supposed to be
Especially
next
like
to
an
me.
8-year-old mouth breather.
I'm sorry, even if it's your child, that's still
I know,
Horrifying.
and it
That's
would
awful.
terrify- But
I would drop kick immediately.
But every single time she would wake up terrified, and I would go, "I'm sorry to wake you, but I
Excuse
can't
me, ma'am.
Excuse me, miss.
Dearest mother.
every time." And it was the
Please
same
help
thing.
me.
And she'll tell this story, but I'm sorry to wake you, but I can't sleep. I'm sorry.
I would be like, get out of here.
Like, wake me up.
I would have a very visceral reaction if I saw a small child hovering over me. I don't know how I would be able to
She's like
control
playing with
myself.
the curls of her mom's hair a little bit, like, mama, mama.
Just like softly blowing.
Mom, thank you for not ever punching me.
Pretty lady.
Soft
They're kidding.
candy
Yes.
warm
Oh, that would be it's right now. It's like freaking me out. I'm imagining a little girl singing that. No, I'm done.
My natural instincts would take over at that point, and
I would be punched.
I would regret what would happen in that 10 seconds.
Son, you're grounded. Get in your room.
Get out of here. You
out.
figure out your own fear. I'm done with this. So, surprise-wise, one time I was in college, and this was one of the bigger birthdays of my mother. I don't remember what birthday it was specifically. Maybe 16? I don't remember.
Your birthday.
Her birthday.
Not his 60th birthday.
I thought you said 16th.
No, 60th. Her 60th. It was a big birthday for my mother. Okay. And so then my dad coordinated that all of the children who were like from literally everywhere, because I think at that point Lauren was in Grand Rapids here because she was in school. I was at Spring Arbor. My brother was somewhere else, and my sister Ashley, was she in Japan at that time? Like, she might have flown from another country. Like, we came from everywhere for this, like, birthday celebration or whatever. And then he, like, randomly took her to the mall and just basically was like, we're going to go shopping and, like, birthday shopping. And my mother doesn't even like the mall, like, at all. But she's very cheap. She subscribes to Cheapskate Monthly. That's a real magazine. I'm just telling you. But she used to tell me, you can reuse that paper plate. There's only butter on it. Yeah, I'm not even joking. So we went to the mall. Somehow you convinced her to do that. And then, like, my sister Lauren, who's the most believable to just show up all the time because that's what she did. And currently does. She, like, showed up, like, in one of the stores. And so, like, they ended up taking her through the mall, through, like, all the stores. And we would, like, one by one, like, appear or whatever. Cool. So we were, like, hiding amongst it, and then like the next one was my brother, who was like closer, and then me, which I even told her, like, I'm sorry I can't come home. Like, I had a big youth ministry conference that I was supposed to go to that was like for a class, like a whole weekend thing. So I came, like, I went there, and then I came home first. My professor came from Chicago to pick me up to take me back that night. Because it was like it was like a whole like very coordinated effort. Because I was like, I'm sorry, Mom, I can't help. Like, your birthday party's gonna be super fun, but like I have to do this school thing. She's like, I get it. That's just like sad. And then I was at the mall, whatever, and showed up, and she was like, what? Awesome. And then like the last one was my sister Ashley, who came from another country. And she was like, what's happening? And was very surprised. And, like, and we had like a little celebration, ate cake, and then like I left that night to go back.
That's amazing. Can you just imagine if his mom would have said, "Oh, I don't want to go to the mall"?
Which she did, kind of, though, but it wasn't like very
can
harsh.
you just imagine that?
Yep, you can.
So work on that.
Yeah.
No.
Work on it.
But that is precious.
Yeah, that is really sweet.
It was a well done,
Dad.
Dad. You killed it. Yeah.
Papa Evan Bronkema.
Snap for that. Yeah. Pretty much the only thing that like my mother would actually have enjoyed, because she doesn't really care about things. Yeah. And so, but her children.
That's
the best.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's super cute.
Anything else? Anything from anyone? You guys don't have like nothing happened? I mean, like, no.
When my sister was born, that was a surprise.
Do tell. More.
I think that, I don't know, Mom and Dad, you can confirm if you were trying for Natalie. We don't talk about her being a surprise, but we also don't talk about her being an accident.
Because she was an uh-oh baby?
They call her, like, I don't know.
God's special providence.
Yeah, like, they were like, it was a gift from the Lord.
Happy accident.
Yeah. But I got a beautiful best friend out of that surprise. So.
Oh my gosh. Still?
Yeah, she my horde.
She's my horde.
She my bestie.
She's my bestie.
Yeah.
So how old are you in comparison to her then?
8 years older.
Oh.
But like
so
early
it was like
on,
a long enough time.
Yeah. I was like Mama Beth when she was little. I was like, come on, sweetie, here we go. Like, I was just like a little mom. But then as soon as she was like 13, I was like, she's quirky, just like me. This could work. And then I was like, we vibing.
Yeah.
Like, it was like someone else to be quirky with, and now it's just like grown into a beautiful friendship, sissy. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my family just like didn't do. It's hard to coordinate surprises with
each other.
That many people. So like there were times where like a few kids would show up for I remember my mom had a birthday, or it was either her birthday or for Mother's Day. Like 3 of us showed up when I was at school, and my brother was somewhere else. But like,
I think I coordinated that with your mom.
Yeah. Surprises
So I
weren't like a
snuck
huge
one
part
in.
of a large family like that because it's hard to
I guess that makes sense.
It's hard to keep a secret with 8 kids. Like, I remember multiple... And it's probably why I don't like surprises. Like, I remember spoiling surprises that my parents were trying to keep for my sisters. And, like, how visceral the reaction was like, You spoiled this. Like,
Let's surprise them.
it doesn't matter.
Let's surprise them. Let's brainstorm, think about things that would surprise them, and let's do it.
I mean, and there were, like, times where you would show up from when we were long distance. Like, Julie would show up and be like, oh, this is cool. But, like, I'd
It
rather
just
not...
wasn't the reaction you were looking for, you know? Like, he just doesn't...
So, like, what-
He doesn't surprise. So even if we threw a surprise, he won't respond the way we want him to. So
Does
it would
it
be
take
like,
a
oh, this is
while?
cool.
For...
Like, so do you eventually respond with like a, oh
No.
my God, like not even with time?
He won't fake
You
it
just
either.
process it that quickly.
It's not even, like, a matter of processing. It's just, like, this is the thing.
But, like, he'll be like, oh, wow.
But it's like it's
this
more
is
like
cool.
it's more just how my personality is. Like I'm just very, I'm not like a super high and a super low generally. Like I have ups and
you are
downs.
stable like
But
that.
like even when I watch, like
and I am
Same. I am not that way.
Right, that's the thing. I am unstable.
even when I
I'm
watch,
very high. I have strong feelings.
Yes, and I feel them quickly.
yeah, and I definitely do have ups and downs. But it's more in terms of like the reaction. So even when I'm watching scary movies, like I get scared. I'm not the type of person to be like.
That-
Beth, you silly little scared person, you.
it's not fair. Mia.
So like my family like I hated watching scary movies growing up because like they freaked me out. And my mom would always say like, Mark, it's good to know your limits. So like we would start a scary movie and I'd be like, I have to go upstairs.
What about cringe things? Like, do you show reaction when you're like, oh, this is bad? Do you show anything like that?
Like in real life scenarios or like
yes, so like real life or like something like happens that's like embarrassing from someone else, and you're like, oh, like,
I'll
do you
do
show
it.
We
anything?
usually laugh.
No, I'll do it in like
Yeah,
in
I'm sure
more public settings. So like I'm thinking of like I've seen high school productions of musicals.
Yes.
Where like I'll just be like.
Yeah, I feel like you have shown cringe, which I
Yeah.
feel like is part of.
So I'll
true.
definitely have that type of reaction more because it's just like I feel so bad for you.
Yeah.
But it's not like a him thing either. It's not like he's reacting to something that's impacting him.
Sure, but it's like, but I still feel like you're watching. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, so I'll have that
He's a
reaction,
part
but I
of
just
it,
You do
like
have that
but
reaction
It's
of
not directed
cringe.
at him.
I don't have
Because
like
I feel like I react to cringe of like, oh, ew. I don't want to be here. I don't wanna
Breaks into
do
song.
this.
I don't want to be here.
I don't want to do this. Yeah. Okay.
But like there's I can
I
think
feel like
of
that's
very few times in my life where I've screamed from fear.
I want to hear you scream. Like, I want to hear
It's
you.
not
I don't know
like
why.
that.
That's what he sounds
Yeah,
like.
well-
It's like a guttural scream.
course.
Like I'm thinking of like when I hit a deer, I was horrified because it was massive and it's like I've never hit an animal before. I hadn't been in my own car. Like I remember
so many.
screaming so loud, like I almost lost my voice because of how like much of a guttural like like it was just that times 100.
Your neighbors are like, oh gosh, what's happening?
They're used to do it once a night.
See, but that's funny because I do not react like.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't like that. I don't react like that when in a real life situation. I still like won't. I have been in situations where I've had to call the police. Like one time, flames. I was sitting in my car and flames shot out of my hood towards the windshield,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Get out of the car!" I don't respond with like a like that's not a. It's actually
I've
very
done it,
like matter of
twice.
fact.
Yeah.
That's so
I'm usually
interesting.
the
to
same
me.
way, where like I will usually be pretty even keel, especially in like situations like that.
Yeah,
For
and
some
I'm really
reason
good at
that
calling.
for some reason that happened. My body was like, "You could die right now," and my brain was like, and just let out a guttural scream.
Oh, that's funny.
It's probably like the one and only time.
Yeah, there's been very few times where I've been like that afraid.
Well, yeah, hitting a deer is pretty terrifying.
Yeah,
That's a whole story for
that's
itself.
another. That's another.
Oh no,
podcast.
car hitting. Yep. Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it so
you.
much. See you next episode on Basically Complicated.
Surprise.
Okay, bye.